Truly African.
Hi there. Thank you so much for choosing to stay with us here on Constituency Connect here on Pan-African Television. My name is Ivy Abinadidina Hite. We are live across 46 African countries and, of course, some parts of Europe. Now, Ghanaians head to the polls come December 2024 general elections, and as we do always, we tour your constituencies, have interactions with your members of parliament and parliamentary candidates to tell us whether or not they have worked tirelessly to win your love in order to be able to be given that position once again to represent you in parliament. And so, Cape Coast South constituents, today we are fortunate to have with us your member of parliament or your representative, Honorable Ricketts Hagan. I know that the name is long, but he would have to tell us himself. Honorable, good evening, and thank you so much for choosing to stay with us.
Yeah, good evening.
I hope I had your name correct.
Yeah, it's George
Kweku
Ricketts
Hagan.
It's a compound name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is the constituency? How are you faring in your third term as the member of parliament for the Cape Coast South constituency?
Right. Thank you, and I should say good evening to your viewers, or whenever time they get to see this. It's been a journey. Obviously, I have been in this position for 11 years.
Wow.
This is my 12th year, and I have been given the nod by my party to represent them again in the up-and-coming general election. And I pray and hope that my fortunes will continue, and that of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, of which we both belong to, obviously, the same political party, seeking to return back, to power. As you can see, you are here in the constituency. Cape Coast is a relatively peaceful place. People are getting about their business. The economy is extremely hard. That has affected the cost of living. So you see people with smiley faces walking around the market area, but they are doing so in real pain because the living really very hard now. But they are getting by, and their prayers and hope is that good times, or at least relatively better times, will return by the end of the year when the elections are done.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
How challenging has your tenure as the member of parliament for Cape Coast South been, owing to the fact that, yes, you are the member of parliament, you've been in power for 12 good years, and your party isn't in power? How challenging is that?
Right. Thank you. First of all, I must thank my constituency for retaining me up to this period. People might say it's a long time, and this and that, but obviously I'm here for a reason. It's been I have been in government before, because for the 12 years. When I came to Parliament, I went straight to government. I became the Deputy Minister of Finance, became the Deputy for Trade and Industry. And then before we left office, I was the Central Regional Minister.
Wow.
And so I would say that, we had opportunity, because I was in government. We had opportunity to do things, and we could see the benefit of the things that we are doing on the lifestyles of the people, whom we are serving. And going into a position is obviously another ball game, where you are not, in the executive and be able to respond to challenges of people. It's like you are in office, but you are not in power. That's what a position is like, especially those of us who win our seats in a position. I mean, all throughout the 2 terms in a position, I have won my seat. So it's like I'm in office, but I'm not in power. Because there are certain things that you want to be able to do, you can't do them because obviously our political system is a winner takes all politics. Therefore, if you don't belong to those who want the presidency and all that, you are obviously in a minority in that sense, and you cannot get certain things done because you are seen as not one of them, and therefore any things that they have to do in benefit of development is redistributed around you.
Can we look at some of the intrinsic issues confronting your constituency, Cape Coast South constituency, and as the Member of Parliament, what have you done so far to lessen the suffering of constituents of Cape Coast South constituency?
Well, I think we are a fishing community. That's number one for us. And so any policies that support or affect fishing affect us. So the recent issues with the closing of the sea and all those things have not really helped our people. You know, we live in a country where there is no support system. So if they say they are closing the sea, which I still cannot make any sense of that decision. I have spoken to quite a number of oceanographers and people who learn about the sea. With my little knowledge, it doesn't make sense to me that they close the sea. You know.
What are their reasons?
Well, I guess I hear the reason is that we should give the fish time to grow. And that argument itself for me is flawed in the sense that we are talking about a sea here, not a pond. If you have a pond, you can leave a fish in to grow because they are growing and within a space. More. Yes, okay. But I can allow my fish to grow here and end up in Australia or Cote d'Ivoire or somewhere by the time I'm ready to harvest them. And I cannot go to the waters of Cote d'Ivoire to harvest. I hear there's some scientific thing to that. And the one that I buy most is that catching of the smaller fish, fish. But that in the past, as I know, and I've been involved in the fish, business, when I was even much younger. And I know that there are different sizes of nets for that particular reason. That when you use nets with smaller gaps, that's when you catch the baby fish, if I like. But if your nets are quite bigger, when the smaller fish go through the net, enter the net, they can also go through it. And that is the way they have always been able to separate, leaving the smaller one and catching the big ones. But this idea of leaving them to grow, for me, it doesn't make sense. But I'm yet to be convinced on that. But the difficulty here is the socio-economic challenge that comes with that. Because many a times, I said, in our country, we don't have a support system. To be able to implement such a program effectively, you must be able to have in place of it some kind of a benefit system where the farmers identified can be supported during the period that they are not supposed to go fishing, so they can look after themselves and their families. I mean, this is the only trade they do. So if you ask them not to fish, then you are basically telling them not to eat, and that cannot be acceptable. And there have been some bits and pieces of support here and there when we start making noise. But then there again, it doesn't amount to anything. And the other thing to do with the fishing business again is to do with the distribution of the premix, that is the fuel that they use. And it is distributed by who you are, what party you belong to, because the thing is in the control of the party in power or the fishermen in power in that, So that's that. The other thing, again, this is a tourism destination. And we have been fighting to have a lot of, and the country benefits a lot from the tourism. The castle alone here give the Tourism Development Authority lots of money, yet you don't see much money being pumped back here in terms of building other infrastructures that will complement the castle. It was during our tenure that I supervised the building of Ridge Royal, where we are sitting.
No.
Hotel. It wasn't going to happen And luckily, I happened to be put on a Senate board as a Deputy Minister of Finance. And this place was basically, I think they had built it for about 10 years and left it. And every machine here was rotten. So obviously being the Deputy Minister of Finance, being on the board, and Cape Coast being my constituency, I had no choice than to make sure, and we were able to complete this edifice, which is obviously supporting tourism and giving good accommodation.
Good job.
Yeah, to people who come here. So our problems are quite, it's obviously one of the poorest, it's part of one of the poorest region, you know, in the country, central region. And it is also, funny enough, the citadel of education. Some of the best secondary schools in Ghana are located in this small place. You can start from Fancy at the Southern College, St. Augustine's, Wesley Girls, Ghana National, Agri Memorial, Holy Child, all of them. They're sitting on the small plots. And most people come from other parts of the country to get a chance to educate themselves here. Whereas many a times our children don't get that opportunity. The problem is twofold. One is that, first of all, we ourselves need to improve our basic education, including the government, so that children who are born here and have the opportunity, we are not saying that they have the right to go to attend this school, but for proximity's sake, it's an opportunity for them to see themselves also in this school. When I was a student, that's many years ago, ancient times, at Adisada College, people from Cape Coast, I think we were about 5 or 6. Out of those days, the population wasn't too large. The school was about 700 students, and only about 5 of us actually came from Cape Coast. But the schools are in front of people's houses. Adisada College is just here. Infansipim is in the middle of the town. So you see Cape Coast kids going around and not having opportunity to enter such schools. So they see people in such schools as special people. I mean, I was a king in my house for just being in Adisada College. But I can tell you, I wasn't the cleverest. But so that's another thing. We started an affirmative action. I started an affirmative action here. I sat all the head teachers around, and explained to them why children of Cape Coast, we are not saying, President Mills had already given us a quota, but to just honor that quota so that children in Cape Coast can get a chance to go to school here, so that they don't get psychologically affected, that they can never be better up to a certain level. So that is also something we've been battling with. Fortunately or unfortunately, fortunately in the sense that free education is good. I subscribe to free education. President Mahama subscribed to free education. During our time, the difference was when and how to do it. We said progressively, and they said now. But it was enshrined, or it is enshrined in our constitution, that if the economy is doing well, we should progressively make education free for our people. So it's the direction that every government will have to end up in eventually. But again, as a popularist policy, they thought this will get us vote, let's do it now. It's come to stay. President Mahama said he will honor it and make it better. But it's been done in a way that has created challenges for us. Some of us who support free education said at the time that, look, use the country's endowment, that is the oil, the gold and all that, and take a percentage of that to fund education, free education, permanently, perpetually. But don't use taxpayers' money to fund free education, because eventually free education will get expensive and the budget will get bigger. So if your source of funding is tax, then it means your taxes should also be raised. But if you are using our endowment, Ghana never used to have oil until 2011. So if we had used oil, a percentage of oil alone, to fund free education, we still wouldn't be having the challenges that children are going through, sleeping on the floor, not having rooms in classrooms. The term system has been messed up. Children are in school 1 month and they are home 3 months. Parents have to get teachers to teach their own children at home and all that. So for our side of the region or part of these are some of the challenges, that we have. We used to have problems with our roads. Fortunately for us, and I still get some of my colleagues in other part of the region blaming me as the former Central Regional Minister of not being able to do all the routes in Central Region. And then I did mine. So in Cape Coast, if you come to Cape Coast Township, the whole township, you wouldn't find potholes. You find maybe in the outskirts, but 25 kilometers of our township were all, we made it all asphalt under President Mahama and myself as the MP, because we did it when I was in finance, trade, and Central Region. And then the famous Kotokraba market, which I'm proud to say was built, within these 12 years of my being in office with His Excellency President Mahama and President Mills of blessed memory, who initiated the whole project. President Mahama making sure that it happened, and me as the MP making sure that I do the leg work. Fortunately, I was a Minister of Finance, so I saw to the approval of the money to do the place. I was part of the people who went to sign the agreement in China for the. Then I became a trade minister who was responsible for all the necessary facilitation that we needed to do for the contractors to build the project. Then I became the Central Regional Minister to commission it with His Excellency President Mahama. So I take full credit for the
Honorable, all of these, all the praises with regards to developments under your tenure. You're giving everything to former President John Dramani Mahama. Are you saying that the current administration hasn't done anything for the Cape Coast South constituency? Or, in your own point of view, personally, how would you assess the performance of the current administration?
Don't get me started.
Please do. I like that.
It's been an abysmal performance. Luckily, I'm an economist, and I have served as a minister in finance. So I think I know about the economy as well as pretty much everyone here in Ghana. And the performance has been very bad. Let's localize it first to Cape Coast, and then, of course, I usually speak on the economy nationally. So, but first of all, as I went to talk about tourism, one of the things that I have a problem with is with Dr. Baumia. And it's not just me. Many people have problems with him. I'm not questioning his professionalism as an economist. Another economist cannot criticize, because if you take two economists and ask them their view on the economy, they could come with different conclusions, and they will both be right. So I don't want to. But it is with to be respectful to him. His challenges with the truth and his overpromising. He promised so much that it is promises that got MPP to power. And I can say that the single catalyst that got MPP to power was Dr. Baumia. Through his endorsement by the President, Nana Akufo-Addo, as being the economic messiah who is coming to obviously change everything. He gave us, he made us understand that he is not an economist. Therefore, as a leader, he has spotted a talent that will take care of the economic challenges that we are having. This man came in and he's been nothing but completely useless. He promised a lot. Some of his promises was even to the annoyance of the president. He promises in certain area and the president said, we haven't said that. And all that. The man stopped promising. And then things that we were expecting him to do as a chairman of the economic management team, which he is now denying that he was only a driver's mate, just tells me that he is completely incompetent. Incompetent in every sense. Incompetent even in his promises. This man came to my constituency to promise the people of Cape Coast that being a tourism destination, as we have described, and knowing that we need tourism infrastructure, airport is a tourism infrastructure. We need a tourism infrastructure here. They are either building or they are going to be building. It's neither here nor there. An airport for this place. He was here at the same time with his president. The next day, I'm sure you are journalists, so you will know. The next day or so, another media house interviewed the president. And the president was denying no knowledge of any promise. So you ask yourself, who is running the economy? And then the president said, he's not convinced. He doesn't even see the sense of Cape Coast having an airport. That itself was lack of vision. His vice sees it, but his is a lie. So having an airport in Kumasi, he's trying to say that we are within a zone where we don't need an airport also. But this man promised us that. He promised us a harbor. On top of that, he was just he had taken his promising tablets. So he was just promising us. Now, that airport was supposed to happen within this term. Well, we have about 10 months to go. Let's hope you start building it. That hasn't happened. So for me, for this man to say that he wants to be a president of the country, he has a vision and he spelled out his vision to us. It's disingenuous. I mean, I'm not talking about the quality or the well-being of his promises, because he said some good things there. I mean, anybody can get up and make the same promise. You and I can make the same promises out there. But as to whether those promises will be executed, can be executed, it has been planned for, is another question. Therefore, if I cannot believe your vision and your promise to me yesterday, how can I believe your promise to me today of your vision tomorrow? So I don't even read about his vision. It's not that they were no good or bad vision. I'm sure some of the things he's talked about, NDC has talked about it. Mahama will do them. So for me, it's not about his vision. It's about the man's own credibility. His own credibility. Before we go to the credibility of the party itself, the party in government, the government's own credibility is the biggest problem. And most of the hardship we are suffering today is as a result of bad policy judgment by this government and nothing to do with Russia-Ukraine war or COVID. Yes, Russia-Ukraine war affected every part of the world. It affected everyone. It was a health pandemic, which of course became an economic pandemic. Other countries fared better. The question you have to ask yourself, it's not about how much we spend on COVID or how much we spend on Russia and Ukraine, but why is it that Ghana had a much bigger impact on these things than other countries? It tells you clearly that our preparation was not right. Our structures were built on straw. And that is why, if you look at a country and you think about that, or not even a country, Francis, we have a saying that if somebody builds a house with straw, no straw, not with cement or anything, just use straw to build a house and roof it with straw, and the storm comes and blows the house away with other houses and all that, when you get up from the rubbles, the first thing that you will be complaining about is the wind. But when you look around and your neighbors' buildings are standing, you should begin to question the materials upon which your house is built. And that's Ghana's situation. It is the materials that this economy had been built on. Therefore, when the wind came, the Ukrainians and the COVID came, it blew us apart. But when we woke up, Cote d'Ivoire, other places are all standing, registering better economic figures than us. Our indicators were all abysmal. Yes, instead of focusing on rounding this economy, they are always looking backwards on who they did better against and all that. And that has been their mantra. We were better than you, we are longer than you, we are shorter than you. You know, that sort of rubbish that we'll be living with. But I know Ghanaians are looking forward to this coming election.
Well, we are looking forward to this election. Honorable, your main contender, Enes Arthur, is the mayor of Cape Coast South. Cape Coast South. Honorable, Is he a threat?
He's never been. This is not the first time he's contesting me.
Okay.
Yeah, but a man.
So what are you doing?
A man you have beaten before.
How are you going to maintain the seat
know,
once again? Are you gearing towards that?
I don't worry about him. I am not somebody who worry about my opponents. You know, I worry about myself.
Yourself.
Being healthy enough, being strong enough, you know, and all these things come from God. And I don't worry about my competence. I don't worry about my conducting of my elections. I don't worry about the goodwill that I have with the people of Cape Coast. I did not win, and Cape Coast is not one of the places you call a safe seat for the NDC. Cape Coast is a representation of Central Region. When they talk about Central Region being swing, Cape Coast is one of the major swing places. And MPPs have been MPs here, NDC. So it's not like our brothers and sisters in Volta, where when we do your primaries, you are this. But I have been able to maintain this seat for the NDC for 3 terms, going into a 4th term. So with God on our side, and by doing our work well and not be complacent, and also making sure that the Ghanaians are on their side now. They have tasted water, they have tasted wine, they know which one is sweeter. So I have no doubt in my mind that His Excellency President Dramani Mahama will be returned back to power. And by that, I have no doubt in my mind that I will be retained here in Cape Coast. So, and a starter is not.
Honorable. The dynamics of this constituency has been interesting. I mean, you have won 2 good times since the exit of former President John Dramani Mahama in this constituency, and your presidential candidate John Mahama has lost to Akufo-Addo 2 good times. What is to account for this? Is it that you only campaign for yourself and
you know, you hear people say that, and not only to me but to other places, that where if unfortunately our president doesn't win, candidate for themselves. I have been in politics not for too long, but long enough to know that no candidate can candidate for themselves, can campaign for themselves. I mean, how does one campaign for themselves? That means you go to a place and you say, vote for me, don't vote for Mahama. Or do you go and say that, you know, well, vote for me and then as for the president, use your good judgment. Nobody does that. So you cannot campaign for, and then of course, as a parliamentary candidate, as far as Cape Coast is concerned, I am the icing on the cake. The cake itself is baked by NDC members in Cape Coast who campaigned for me to win. I'm not the one who campaigned for myself to win. If the people in the branches and in the various communities don't campaign for me, when I go there, mine is just icing, putting the icing on the cake. The campaign would have been done already. If I come to this area, people in this area, our members would have done the campaign already. Then they will invite me that, Honorable, come and meet us. So if President Mahama loses here in this community, then it is the NDC that did not campaign for him, which itself is impossible. Because the members, our members are campaigning for me and the president. So it is not possible that they can go and campaign for. Now, and let me tell you what the number of votes that we get for President Mahama, as you said, mine is always more than that, is the true reflection of the NDC votes in this place.
How?
Because I'm coming. If I were not to be the candidate, and maybe somebody else, that person would have gotten the same vote as President Mahama. That is our vote.
Oh.
You get it? Our vote, NDC vote, any NDC candidate, average NDC candidate, who stands an election here, is going to get the same vote as the president. Therefore, if the president wins, that person will also win. If a president loses, that person should also lose. Mine is unique.
What is so unique about you?
Because MPP people vote for me.
Wow. Interesting.
And it is because of how I manage this constituency. If you walk through town, people will tell you, Kwekubeye. I mean, if you want to find, even if you call a child, say Kwekubeye, you know who we are talking about. So, whatever support, whatever I do for this community, I do it for everyone as the member of parliament. Of course, there will be places where, because I'm NDC, I will not contest that. I will do more for my NDC people than maybe MPP people. But Cape Coasters people understand that I am genuinely and wholeheartedly for the development of Cape Coast, not the development of NDC. So people, and then of course, there are some people, President Mahama said some time ago that Akoko Basa Odana on Yakro Mafia. There are some people who are entrenched MPP. And though they like me, they would like to vote for me, but to them they have to vote for their party. And there are others who think that, no, this man is doing a good job for Cape Coast. Therefore, I will vote for him as my parliamentary candidate, my parliamentarian, but I will go and vote for my president. Now, what they don't understand, and that is how the dynamics should change, and it took us a while to see what's going on, is that, especially when I was a minister, where most of my work was done, because I have access to things to do things. I can lobby better because the people who are ministers and various people are my colleagues. This dynamics, they are all factors. As I'm in opposition, it's not everyone I can lobby. And they will lobby, they will tell you nicely it will be done, but you never see any light in the day. So I tell them that, look, it's because of President Mahama being the president, who is an NDC president, that some of the things I was able to do for you in Cape Coast, not only for NDC, but Cape Coast, I got it through lobbying him and lobbying. I cannot say that I have been able to lobby Nana Akufo-Addo in the same way. So, if you think I've done a good job and you want to maintain me, I will be effective and efficient for you if you also vote John Mahama, because that will empower me to do my work and be able to deliver to you. So mine is simply people who are MPP people who vote for me, because anytime NDC had won here, the number is more than they've been getting anytime they lose. So all those votes go somewhere and it comes to me. I'm a beneficiary of that.
Wow.
Interesting. And I think God is also.
God is good.
Is also on the side.
As we head to the polls come December 2024, what message are you conveying to your constituents, as in your final words to constituents of Cape Coast South constituency? That's your camera right there. Final words.
Well, I have come to the conclusion, having NPP in power for 8 years, that MPP government is not a good government for us. I mean, I don't have to sit here and give any testimony on that, because we have all seen the country we live in. When it comes to the economy, it's completely destroyed. If it comes to whatever else you look at, our legal system, everything is going downhill. There is real hardships in this country. And the only way we can get out of this situation is not more promises and more lies from the MPP government, this time led by Baumia, the same currency. But all of us coming together as Cape Coasters, as Ghanaians, and voting massively to return His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. I mean, the angel, what is it called? The devil, if you want to call it that way, is better than the angel you don't know. This angel, we know him anyway. President Mahama had been a president before. We saw what he did, and we know what he can do. Nana Akufo-Addo and Bawumia have also been there for 8 years. We know what they can do. We are still living it. So we pray and hope that the Ghanaians will positively vote massively to return His Excellency John Dramani Mahama back and return Kweku Ricketts-Hagen to continue the job that we have been doing. Even in opposition, we have tried our best when resources are not available to us. When a lot of things we want to do, we've not been able to do it because of sabotage. But what we did when we were in government, you saw it. And we need to continue and complete that job. So on the 7th of December, I pray and hope that we will all go and return His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and Kweku Ricketts-Hagen in the case of Cape Coast South and the whole country.
Thank you, Honorable. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks a lot.
Right, George Kweku Ricketts-Hagen is the Honorable Member of Parliament for Cape Coast South constituency. He's been telling us about his achievements so far since securing the seat as the Member of Parliament for the constituency. He's been in power for 12 good years. Now, Cape Coast South constituents, I know you do love him. And so, you know what to do come December 7, 2024. My name Ivy Abnadidinakite, and this has been Constituency Connect here on Pan-African Television. See you same time next week, Tuesday, 4:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Thank you.